Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing. Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 266 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. How's it going? Are you looking for all the good that's going on in the world? It's so easy right now to get sucked into the idea that the world is in such a bad place. And if you look for reasons to back that up, you'll find them. But the world is also the best it's ever been. And if you look for reasons to back that up, you'll find that too. Try it and let me know what you find. Okay, so I was listening to Dr. Attia on a podcast this last week, and he gave some very specific things that we need to be able to do to have a longer life. It was his podcast on Andrew Huberman's Lab podcast, so if you want to check that out. But it made me so happy to have a specific list, because I don't know about you, but sometimes it's nice to just hear, if you do these 3 things, you'll be healthy, or you'll be fit, or you'll be rich, or whatever. In other words, it's nice to have someone just kind of tell you what to do, and then if you do it, it works. Now, the problem often comes in with following through on it, right? It's like we get super motivated and we're like, okay, I have this plan. Someone's given it to me. I know what I need to do, and I'm really going to do it this time. Only to fall back into our old habits. Because there's that little voice inside our head that pulls all the strings and talks us into going back to our comfort zone. Does that sound familiar? Do any of you have a little puppeteer inside your head, the one that talks you into things that you ultimately know is not what you want to do, but you kind of fall back into it anyway? It's that one that justifies skipping the gym because you're tired, or the one that justifies eating the donuts because, well, you deserve it. Or the one that says, let's start eating healthy tomorrow. What's one more day? That one. I know all about that guy because I have one too, and he's very convincing and he's very manipulative. And why I make him a he, I don't know. All of us have this little puppeteer. Now that's what Jeff Warren, my meditation guide, calls him, a puppeteer. So you can have all the specific lists you want. You can know everything you're supposed to do to reach that goal and still not do it. Because there's a battle between your intelligent brain and your primitive brain. And guess where the puppeteer lives? Well, it isn't the intelligent brain. Because when the thinking brain or the intelligent brain is doing the decision making, it's from a place of forethought and planning. It's when you leave everything up to chance that that little guy in your head wins out, the little puppeteer. When you plan and have forethought, you actually control the puppeteer. When you don't, that's when anything goes and you start going back to your comfort zone. And I know it feels so temporarily good when you cave and just eat that cake or just decide to skip the gym. But you know, and I know, you're going to feel that desire again. The one that is just craving being healthy and fit, the one that wants to follow through with that new business idea, the one that goes the extra mile in your relationships. We want to be the best version of ourselves. We really do. The only thing standing in my way is me. And the only thing standing in your way is you. That's the first thing you have to know. You control that little voice in your head. You control that little puppeteer. He's super powerful and he pulls the strings, but you're more powerful and you control him. So because I know we like lists, I took it upon myself to come up with 3 things that if we do them, they will dramatically improve our life. Now, our thinking brain likes lists. The little puppeteer in your head, he'll encourage you to ignore them or to listen to it tomorrow. But let's overrule him for the moment, shall we? So if you take these 3 things I'm about to give you and you embrace them and accept that they affect your overall happiness in a tangible way, you can radically improve your life, and eventually the little guy in your head will get on board, but not until he's tried every trick in the book to get you to stay safely in your comfort zone. So here's a list for your thinking brain of things that will radically change your life if you recognize them. Okay, number 1, accepting personal responsibility for what you allow in your mind. Okay. Number 2, accept personal responsibility for what you eat and how much you move. And number 3, accept personal responsibility for how you relate to other people. These are the three things that I think will just covers all areas of your life. Now, they're all within your control too. I mean, I personally believe that the first one is the most important one because it'll affect the other two greatly. So that one is personal responsibility for what you allow in your mind. Now, the reason I say that is food commercials, opinion news, negative gossip, Netflix series. This all affects what you crave, how much time you spend on the couch instead of moving, and it affects how you look and respond to other people. I mean, I could be watching something on YouTube, not be hungry at all, see an ad for something delicious, and all of a sudden, I'm ravenous. How does that work? I can be determined to go for a run or a walk, but maybe first I'm just going to watch one little episode or watch one little video on YouTube, which gets me all entangled. And now I watch 4, and it's dark, so no run. Watching the news can have you demonizing an entire portion of the country, and you don't even know why. They just aren't on your team for whatever reason. Paying attention to the news will have you feeling so depressed and so sad that now you're not able to say no to that little voice in your head because he wants you to go get ice cream instead. Because now you're mad, now you're sad, now you're depressed. We've got to do better. We have got to pay attention to how we feel first and foremost. There are too many distractions out there, and it's too easy to settle onto easy street. And easy street leads to mediocrity at best. And what we give our attention to is one of the main reasons why we do that. That's why I put it first on the list. The second one also affects the other two, so personal responsibility for what you eat and how much you move. If you're eating food that causes you to feel bad or makes you feel tired and lethargic, that makes it hard to move. And then that little voice in your head starts telling you there's no point in exercising because you just ate bad, so just chill and watch Netflix. We'll do it tomorrow. And if you're not happy with how you look and feel, that affects your relationship with just about everything else in your life. I know it does for me. I mean, that voice in my head used to tell me, just cancel. You don't have anything to wear that fits. You're not going to look good in anything. If I feel bad about myself because I haven't been taking care of me, I don't want to go out. I don't want to get dressed up. I don't want to see other people. And when I do, I'm certainly not the best version of me. And that is not how I want to show up, not anymore. And finally, how you relate to other people. You got to take responsibility for this. I know this is a hard one. It is for me too. But you don't control how other people act. You only control how you respond. And that puppeteer in your head will ruminate and create all kinds of vindictive scenarios that just simply make it worse. I mean, he will create problems where there are none because someone didn't text you back or you misunderstood the text that you did get. He'll continue old arguments or remind you of your past mistakes as often as you let him. I mean, those types of thoughts don't serve you and they don't do anything good for your relationships. When you feel that voice in your head starting to stir up trouble, purposely focus your attention elsewhere. Let him know he doesn't hold the power anymore. You're taking control. And here's the beauty of it. That puppeteer, that's just programming. I mean, you can program him to do whatever you want, or you can allow your phone or your TV or your peer group to program him. That's what's happening. That voice is the product of your programming. But you are not that voice. You are not that puppeteer. That's why sometimes you feel so torn because part of you wants to do what's right for you and the other part wants to do what's easy or what's safe. Who wins out? Well, it's whichever one you feed. So where do you stand on these three things? What are you allowing to take up space in your head? What are you eating and how much are you moving? And how are you doing and taking responsibility for every single relationship you have right now, even if they're just relationships you have in your head? Our thoughts about people affect our relationships with them, whether they know what you're thinking or not. There's plenty of studies to show that to be true. So how much control does your puppeteer have? And do you know you have the power to tell him no? The more you tell him no, the easier it'll get. That's how we get discipline. The definition of discipline is training that produces moral or mental improvement. And that little guy in your head, he's okay with mediocrity because it's safe. That's why it's difficult to push forward because he's constantly pulling you back. Don't let him. train yourself to tell him no. You have that power. My challenge to you today is simple. Just notice that little guy in your head. Notice the things he says. Notice the things he stops you from doing. Notice the things he'll justify. He'll justify just about anything. That's all I want for today, is just to notice him. Awareness is the first step. Overruling him is the second step. And consistency with that is the third. And when you get to the consistency, that's when radical change will happen. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.